Level 1. The runner. You're 15, living in a neighborhood whose economy collapsed before you were born. Storefronts sit boarded up. The factory where your grandfather worked is now a parking lot. Your mother juggles 2 jobs and still falls behind on rent. No bank account, no resume, no real options. Nobody's hiring a 15-year-old for anything above minimum wage, and minimum wage doesn't cover what your family needs. A guy on the corner offers $200 to carry a backpack across town. You don't ask what's inside, you already know. You deliver it to a barred window house where a stranger takes it wordlessly. You walk home with $200, more cash than you've ever held, earned in 45 minutes, more than your mother makes in 2 days. You tell yourself it's a one-time thing. You do it again the next week and the week after and the week after that. Within a month you're carrying a phone someone handed you, not bought. It rings at odd hours. A voice tells you where to go and what to carry. You go. You carry. You don't ask questions. You're a runner, the bottom rung of an economy moving billions across cities and borders, entirely replaceable. Arrested, robbed, or gone, nobody's coming to make it right. Someone else picks up the backpack tomorrow. You know this and do it anyway. The money feels real. Everything else in your life doesn't. Teachers mention college. Counselors mention career paths, foreign language. This path has no brochure, no guidance counselor. Just a ringing phone and a backpack that needs carrying. Level 2. The lookout. 6 months of running and someone noticed you, not for speed or nerve, but for staying quiet and showing up when the phone rang. Talking destroys people faster than anything in this world. They bump you up. You're a lookout now, posted on corners, in stairwells, on rooftops, watching for police. You memorize unmarked cars, gray sedans, black SUVs with tinted glass, white vans parked too long in one spot. You learn patrol patterns, which officers are aggressive and which drive past without looking. You carry a burner with one contact. Spotting trouble means a one-word text, a code that changes weekly. Triggering a chain reaction, product moves, people scatter, stashes empty, corners go silent, all because a teenager on a roof clocked a car that didn't belong. You're the operations early warning system, its cheapest and most essential piece. You earn $300 a week, standing outside for hours through rain, cold, and heat, feet aching, eyes burning from watching the same block all day. Nobody thanks you. Nobody notices until you miss something. Schoolmates don't understand your warehouse job. Some believe the cover story. Some already know better and don't ask. Your mother found cash in your drawer and said nothing, just used it for the electric bill. That silence is its own contract. You're 16 with a job you can't put on a resume, secrets you can't share, and a place inside something most people only glimpse on the news. Level 3. The corner boy. You've earned real territory, a block, an intersection, a housing project entrance where you sell product directly, hand to hand. You're a salesman now. Small bags, vials, foil wraps, known prices. Regular faces and a sharp eye for the difference between a customer, a cop, and an addict angling for a freebie. Shifts run 10 to 12 hours, standing in one spot waiting. Suburban cars roll up, windows barely cracked. The deal takes 8 seconds, cash in, product out, no eye contact, no acknowledgement, like you're a vending machine with a pulse. Others walk up looking rougher each time, thinner, grayer, teeth missing, eyes unfocused. You see exactly what your product does to people and learn not to think about it, because thinking doesn't change anything and only makes the work harder. You clear $500 to $800 a week. Sounds like a lot, isn't, given the brutal hours and constant exposure. You're the most visible link in the chain, first to get swept up when police move, already arrested twice, minor charges, 30 days in county, the second time that felt like initiation. Your spot was waiting when you got out, which tells you exactly how replaceable and valuable you are at once. At 18 you carry a record that will shadow every job application and police stop from here on a door the straight world quietly closed while you were already facing the other way. You buy your little brother new shoes, a game console, things your mother could never afford. He looks up to you without knowing the source, and that worries you more than you admit. the fear that he's watching, learning, heading for this same corner. You push the thought away, customers are waiting. Level 4. The stash house manager. Off the street now, you run a stash house, an apartment in a building where nobody asks questions, neighbors either oblivious, indifferent, or too scared to speak up. Inside sits product, cash, scales, packaging, and a floor-bolted safe. Your job is inventory, weighing incoming product, packaging it for distribution, handing it to corner boys on schedule, counting return cash, and reporting discrepancies. What happens to whoever shorted the count isn't your concern. You keep meticulous records entirely in your head, tracking every gram in, every dollar owed, functioning as an accountant for an operation that exists off the books. You sleep there 3 nights a week with a handgun under the mattress you've never fired and hope never to. 3 locks and hallway cameras feeding your phone turn every knock into a calculation, every strange voice into a threat assessment. You're responsible for $50,000 to $100,000 in product at any moment. Losses cost more than your paycheck. You earn $1,500 a week, wiring money to your mother through a relative she stopped asking where it comes from long ago. At 20 you manage more inventory than most retail managers twice your age, eating fast food alone surrounded by more cash than your family has earned in a decade, watching the door, watching the cameras, waiting on the next pickup. Nobody warned you about the loneliness the street had people. The stash house has only silence, the product, and the weight of what happens if you slip. Level 5. The supplier. Promoted again, you're no longer touching street-level product. You're the bridge between wholesaler and street operation, receiving bulk shipments from people you've never met. Handoffs happening in parking lots, storage units, and paper-only back offices. You break bulk into smaller loads, distribute across a territory. Spanning a dozen blocks, set prices, extend credit to trusted lieutenants, and collect from those who've lost trust. Never a pleasant conversation, sometimes not a conversation at all. The money turns serious. $30,000 to $50,000 in cash weekly, too much to bank or carry openly, so it has to disappear. You learn structuring small deposits kept under $10,000 spread across accounts and smuffing, paying others to make deposits, and front businesses like laundromats, car washes, restaurants, and salons that absorb extra cash flow without raising flags. The real skill here isn't selling drugs any corner boy can do, that it's laundering money, the line separating amateurs from professionals. You retain a real attorney now, $400 an hour, who understands exactly what you do but only ever calls it your consulting business. You dress down deliberately, drive a modest car, skip jewelry, avoid social media. The guys flashing cash are the guys who get noticed, and getting noticed gets you indicted. At 24 you already grasp what most never learn. Wealth and the appearance of wealth are opposites, and the richest players in this economy look like they work at a car dealership, entirely by design. Level 6. The lieutenant. You now run an entire section, multiple blocks. Multiple stash houses, dozens of people reporting to you, responsible for revenue, discipline, and keeping supply flowing smoothly down while money flows cleanly back up. Meetings happen in the back of a barbershop, never the same location twice, in codes that rotate monthly. You carry 3 burner phones, swapped every 2 weeks, each with its own purpose known only to you. Managing personnel is the unglamorous core of the job: hiring, firing, promoting, disciplining. Settling territory disputes, handling workers who skim or develop habits, a liability waiting to leak, and handling the most dangerous case, someone arrested who might talk. You have to know who has a lawyer, who has family depending on them, who has nothing left to lose, who'll stay quiet, and who'll fold at the first offer from a detective. Loyalty occupies more of your thinking than product ever does. Product is simple, people are not. You pull $5,000 to $10,000 a week and have quietly invested in legitimate fronts through intermediaries: a stake in a laundromat, a piece of a used car lot, filed taxes, reported income, building a life that can survive scrutiny. At 28, everything can vanish the moment a federal agent knocks, and you know it, though you don't dwell on it during business hours. At night, in a normal-looking apartment with dishes in the sink and a TV nobody's watching, your mind replays the day's numbers: who picked up, who dropped off, who was late, who looked nervous. Nervous people make mistakes. Mistakes draw attention. Attention draws law enforcement. You think in chains now, every small thing tied to a bigger consequence, and you can't switch it off. You're not sure you'd want to. Level 7. The wholesaler. You haven't touched product in years, standing several layers removed from the street. 4 or 5 people between you and any corner boy, each knowing only the link directly above and below, a design meant to stop damage before it reaches you. You buy in bulk from sources operating on an international scale. Unsure exactly where it originates beyond crossing a border and passing through many hands before reaching you. Kilograms in, pounds and ounces out, the markup at each stage multiplying the money. A $20,000 kilogram eventually generates $100,000 on the street. You're effectively running an import and distribution business. Your legitimate holdings are real now: a construction company, a real estate portfolio, a restaurant that genuinely turns a profit. Employing people who have no idea the startup capital came from a foreign field. You're a local success story, attending community events, donating to charities, sponsoring Little League. The neighborhood knows you made it and doesn't ask how. The few who know don't talk. You meet your lawyer monthly and your accountant weekly. With a financial advisor managing a portfolio that reads entirely clean, paying taxes on every legitimate dollar because the IRS scares you more than any rival. Level 8. The money man. You've never touched the drug trade directly, never held product, never stood on a corner, don't know any corner boys or stash house managers by name. You know numbers, systems, and how to move money across borders without leaving a trail. A financial architect for the shadow economy. A finance or accounting degree led to a few years at a bank, learning the legitimate system from the inside, until an offer arrived that no bank salary could match. Your clients are wholesalers, cartel affiliates, arms dealers, and traffickers. You don't judge or ask about the source, only the amount, destination, and timeline. You build shell companies in secrecy law jurisdictions, trusts nested inside trusts, invoices for goods never shipped, and real estate bought through layered holding companies scattered across different countries, each existing only on paper. You charge 8 to 12%, and at the volumes you handle, that cut makes you very wealthy, though you live comfortably rather than extravagantly, in a nice house with kids in private school and a wife who believes, correctly, that you work in international finance, just not the kind that makes the Wall Street Journal. You speak 3 languages, hold accounts in 7 countries, and carry passports and residency across 3, always 72 hours from disappearing if needed. A packed bag in the closet holding $50,000 in mixed currencies and papers under a name that isn't yours, maintained like fire insurance you hope never to use. Your nightmares aren't about violence. They're about spreadsheets, a number that doesn't add up, a flagged transaction, a 6 a.m. knock from men in suits with warrants. You wake, check for alerts, find none, and go back to sleep. Tomorrow there's a client needing $3 million moved out of the country by Friday, and you'll find a way because that's what they pay you for. Level 9. The kingpin. You control a network spanning a region, maybe several cities, maybe a whole corridor running 1,000 miles from a border to a northern distribution hub. Law enforcement builds task forces around you. Your name sits on a whiteboard in some federal building, agents years deep into wiretaps, surveillance, and informants climbing the chain trying to reach whoever's in charge. They haven't reached you because in any traceable sense you don't exist, nothing owned in your name. Every instruction passed through layers of intermediaries who interpret and relay your wishes. You haven't personally given an order in over 5 years. If everyone between you and the street were arrested tomorrow, not one could identify you in court. That isn't luck. It's 15 years of deliberate architecture built by studying the mistakes of predecessors who got caught. Visible, arrogant, trusting the wrong people, seduced by houses, cars, and reputation. You resist all of it: modest car, church on Sundays, coaching your daughter's soccer team. The sideline parents assume you're a businessman, and they're not wrong. You just work a market with no stock ticker. Your net worth sits somewhere between $20 and $60 million, scattered across so many instruments, entities, and jurisdictions that even you'd need a week to total it exactly. Most nights you sleep fine. Guilt was dealt with and locked away years ago. What keeps you up isn't conscience, it's knowing how this ends for people like you. Prison or death, the only two exits, nobody retires from it. You tell yourself you'll be the exception the way everyone in your position does. Your days run on routine: early mornings, exercise, breakfast with family, dropping your daughter at school, waving at other parents, then meetings and paperwork at the construction company, every appearance that of a quiet, successful small business owner. Nobody's watching, which is exactly the point. The most powerful people in this economy are the ones nobody suspects, the ones who blend in completely, understanding that power and invisibility are the same thing. Level 10. The ghost. You got out, or so you tell yourself. Operations passed to a successor 3 years ago. You relocated to a warm country with no extradition treaty, living behind a walled compound wired with cameras, feeding a monitor in your bedroom, watching the gate the way you once watched the street. Old habits just find new targets. Most of your money is clean now, cycled through so many businesses and accounts that unwinding it would take forensic accountants a decade. You own property across 3 countries and businesses staffed by people who've never broken a law, pay taxes as a model resident, donate to local hospitals, and dine with politicians who shake your hand and never ask where you came from. They don't want to know, and you don't want to tell them. But freedom is incomplete. You still carry numbers for people who could identify you, people who might talk under the right pressure. Every news alert about an arrest back in your old city tightens your chest as you scan names, calculating distance between whoever got caught and whoever could name you. A calculation that never stops, running constantly in the background like software you can't uninstall. Your daughter, now in college, believes you made your money in real estate and proudly calls you self-made. Not wrong, just not in the way she imagines. You wonder if she'll ever learn the truth and what it would do to how she sees you. That thought occupies you more than prison ever does, because prison is abstract and her eyes are not. At 52, 30 plus years into the shadow economy since carrying your first backpack at 15, you've employed thousands, moved more money than some countries generate annually, and built systems that will keep running long after your name is gone. You've destroyed lives not directly but through decisions. Every package that moved through your network ended up in someone's body. Every dollar earned was pulled from a community that couldn't afford the loss. You know this, and you don't let yourself sit with it for long. The weight would crush something you need intact just to keep functioning. Somewhere in the city you left, a 15-year-old stands on a corner holding a backpack he didn't pack, having said yes to $200 because it's more than his mother earns in 2 days. He has no idea what he's part of: the supply chains, the shell companies, the men behind high walls watching camera feeds in other countries. He only knows the money is real, with no idea that every level above him was built on someone else's choices, starting exactly where he's standing now. He'll figure it out. They always do.